But okay, his point is, let's not be cruel. You can find out how people are performing on their job without sending a gimmicky email that is only going to get, you're going to get false positives. You're going to get people who are bad performers responding to the email and good performers not responding to the email. And what does that tell you, Scott?
The premise of your question is that there are thousands of federal workers who are lazy and dishonest. You're saying that if people respond, then they're trying to game the system.
Scott Jennings just dropped a truth bomb on CNN, and the left is losing its mind in a heated debate over federal worker accountability. Jennings went head-to-head with a panel of liberal commentators who were outraged, yes, outraged, over a simple email asking government employees to list what they've been working on. Instead of answering the question, they cried cruelty and gimmick. But Jennings wasn't buying it. He cut straight through the noise, exposing how afraid some people are of even the slightest accountability. If you think federal workers should actually do their jobs, this is a moment you don't want to miss.
I want to dispel this myth that federal employees are some lazy, bureaucrats that don't show up for their work. Listen, 85% of federal workers work outside of Washington, D.C. Those are people who work at our national parks. Those are people who work on, the ag departments in farm bureau states. Those are people who are taking care of Medicaid and processing payments for people in red states like where Donald Trump lives. So we need to stop being so cavalier, Scott, about people and whether they're working or not and how come they're so upset about getting an email. Because these are people's livelihoods.
Because some are being cavalier.
You have the privilege of sitting here getting a six-figure paycheck from CNN.
And I have to show up every day. And I have to show up and earn it. And I have to show up and earn it.
As public servants, and they do the same.
And I have to show up.
And the fact that you assume that they don't is obnoxious and insulting to those people.
They're not showing up and earning it?
They're good
Hold on.
Why are you assuming that they are?
Hang on. Hold on, Joe. Let me play for you, just because apparently you think that it's only Anna and Tara who are concerned about this. Here's John Curtis talking about this yesterday.
If I could say one thing to Elon Musk, it's like, please put a dose of compassion in this. These are real people. These are real lives. These are mortgages. It's a false narrative to say we have to cut and you have to be cruel to do it as well. We can do both.
There's nothing
Hold on. Okay, wait a minute. Joe and Scott and Tara, we all cannot speak at the same time. But okay, his point is, let's not be cruel. You can find out how people are performing on their job without sending a gimmicky email that is only going to get, you're going to get false positives. You're going to get people who are bad performers responding to the email and good performers not responding to the email. And what does that tell you, Scott?
The premise of your question is that there are thousands of federal workers who are lazy and dishonest. You're saying that if people respond, then they're trying to game the system of a gimmicky email. That's number one. And I don't necessarily believe that.
On the planet.
Okay,
there's nothing.
That's not how you evaluate people, by asking them.
Jennings' appearance on CNN ignited a fiery debate over the Trump administration's decision to send an email to federal employees asking them to provide a list of their recent work activities. Jennings stood firm, calling it a totally reasonable and standard accountability measure, something that happens every day in the private sector. His point was simple. If you're doing your job, listing your accomplishments shouldn't be a problem. But the pushback, especially from those with a left-leaning bias, was revealing. Instead of recognizing the need for transparency, they portrayed the request as an attack on public servants. Jennings dismantled that narrative, highlighting the hypocrisy of those who champion openness, except when it applies to them. The outrage from CNN panelists and even hosts on The View exposed a larger trend. Among liberal elites, any effort to evaluate government efficiency is immediately labeled as cruel. Critics claim the email implied workers were lazy or dishonest, arguing many federal employees are hardworking and dedicated. But that argument ignored a key fact: government is bloated, slow, and often unaccountable. If these employees are so professional, why is it offensive to simply show their work? The outrage wasn't genuine. It was a smokescreen to avoid scrutiny.
They're not being evaluated. They're simply being asked, what 5 things did you do last week? It is a simple question. And the fact that no one seems to want to answer it tells me
can we put this in context, though? This is after just in the first few days of the administration, they received a buyout offer that then wasn't really a buyout offer. Then it was very confusing.
No, it's not. They got a buyout if they want.
There's colleagues all over the country being fired in a haphazard way. There's probationary workers being fired, supposedly for performance issues when nobody is actually evaluating their performance. Then this email goes out. Then the agency heads say, no, don't answer the email. Don't you find it don't you think it would be a little bit stressful right now to be a federal worker, to be a park ranger? Yes.
And there
are
federal
worker. It's a hell of a lot more stressful than
okay.
This is number
175. Democrats dying.
Joe, Tara, and Scott, and Anna. Everybody, hold on one second.
Your colleagues fired. It is stressful to be working at the NIH.
That's a lie.
It is stressful to be.
Not one. Name one.
Elon Musk tonight.
I read it in the Miami Herald this
hang on a second. Elon Musk tonight, just to add to the confusion about this, to be honest, he sent out another message on X saying the email requested was utterly trivial, as the standard for passing the test was to type some words and press send. Okay. Yet so many failed even that inane test and urged on in some cases by their managers. Have you ever witnessed such incompetence and contempt for how your taxes are being spent? Makes old Twitter look good. Did not think that was possible. There was also some indication that maybe they might have more time. So
Elon also put out but he also put out a Twitter that said that, Donald Trump now has given them a second chance for the people who didn't respond the first time. And that's the second chance. Like, first of all, let's get this straight. Elon Musk, no one elected him. Doge is a fake, illegal operation that the courts will decide because it's being litigated what they're doing. Also, people who are working at the federal...
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
Federal government, the cruelty of this are people who have just graduated from college or just finished their master's or came from PhD programs, and now they're being told by NASA or by HHS or by NIH after they move their lives to wherever to be public servants, and they're told now, well, no, pack up, you gotta go. This is happening indiscriminately across our government. That is cruel, it's unnecessary, it's dangerous, and when our own agencies are telling us that malign actors, are we just ignoring that part?
Thinks it's cruel to get an email from your boss asking, hey, what did you accomplish?
Elon Musk is not their boss.
He works for the president.
No one thinks that's cruel. He is. If he's appointed by the president,
work for him?
He is their boss.
There's $271 billion of federal you said no one, but that's not the case, okay? Here's Lisa Murkowski, also a Republican senator. She says he should get to know each department and agency. She's talking about Elon and learn about the jobs he's trying to cut. Our public workforce deserves to be treated with dignity and respect for the unheralded jobs they perform. The absurd weekend email to justify their existence wasn't it.
We deserve a better accounting of the $271 billion we spend in a federal payroll.
Totally agree.
If someone cannot answer a single
that's
email,
what Congress is for.
are you alive?
That's Congress's job.
I actually think you're 100% correct about that. There should be an accounting, but that's not this.
That's Congress's job. That's the Inspector General's job that they fired.
Elon Musk's
How
job.
does this tell you anything about what's going on with the government?
Can I
again?
Elon Musk knows
What is it?
how the government runs.
What is it telling you,
The
Joe?
argument that this was gimmicky.
What is it telling you?
Adding fuel to the fire, Elon Musk jumped into the conversation, calling the entire controversy proof of government dysfunction. Musk, never one to mince words, mocked the idea that replying to a basic email was some kind of Herculean task. In the private sector, accountability like this is routine, yet federal workers and their defenders acted like it was an assault on their dignity. Musk's point was direct. If an employee can't jot down a few bullet points about what they do, what does that say about their job? Instead of addressing that concern, critics deflected with personal attacks on Musk, questioning his right to even comment. But the truth stands, taxpayers deserve to know whether their money is being used responsibly. At its core, this debate goes beyond one email. It reflects the deeper conflict between conservatives who demand efficiency and liberals who shield government from oversight. Jennings reminded viewers that the federal workforce leans heavily left, and many workers have openly resisted conservative administrations. One past survey even revealed that a significant number of federal employees said they would act on their own judgment rather than follow orders from Trump's White House. That's not just bias, that's a bureaucracy acting as its own branch of power.
This was gimmicky. It's saying who is actually coming in. Lee Zeldin just required his workforce to come in on Fridays and Mondays.
That's
something
what we're
that
talking about
hasn't.
here.
But my point is that's something that hasn't even been thought of in years.
You just acknowledged it was gimmicky by Elon Musk, like him going out on the CPAC stage with a chainsaw,
it's
jumping
in the
around
sense
like
that it's a funny
like a
way of
buffoon.
saying who's even
When people's
reading their
lives are on the
emails.
line here, their
Who's even reading their
livelihoods.
emails?
All right, hold on.
I think one other point And this is the push and pull of when a Republican is the president. There's an attempt when a Republican's in the White House, Donald Trump or any other Republican, to argue that these federal agencies, federal workers, the bureaucracy, sort of can act independently or autonomously from the political leadership of the country. And that's what's happening here. That's why everyone is melting down. That's why the lady came on CNN today. They don't want to answer the email because they don't want to answer to the president. And the message from Trump and Musk is we have political leaders in this country and you got to answer to
I'm
it.
not following you. Are you saying, are you suggesting that it's only when Republicans are president that
100%.
agencies express independence?
Yes,
Well, you know that
correct.
that's not true.
No, I know it is 100% true that the bureaucracy is not aligned with, mostly not aligned with Republicans.
There are career.
Beyond all the political noise, this issue reveals a broader cultural divide between the public and private sectors. In the corporate world, accountability isn't optional, it's expected. Employees are constantly asked to track progress, work with teams, and show results. But when similar standards are applied to government workers, it somehow becomes controversial. Jennings' critics couldn't offer any logical reason why federal employees should be exempt from the basic expectations that apply to millions of Americans. In the private sector, refusing to report what you're working on could get you fired. That this simple email caused such a stir speaks volumes about the entitlement mindset entrenched in Washington. At the end of the day, the outrage isn't about protecting workers. It's about preserving a bloated bureaucracy that has avoided accountability for too long. Jennings laid that bare. If a harmless email asking for job updates is treated like an existential threat, then we have to ask, what are these employees so afraid of revealing? What do you think of today's video? Let us know in the comments. Thank you.